Thousands of men grind through 12-hour shifts on steel platforms in the middle of the ocean. No land in sight, no way home. Who pulls your fuel up from the deep? What does their life actually look like? But here is what nobody shows you. 28 days. No land, no escape. Just the rig, the crew, and the sea. An offshore drilling rig is entirely self-contained. Power, water, waste management, full accommodation, every system that keeps human beings alive exists on board, because it has to. Some platforms house hundreds of crew members. There are no grocery runs, no hospitals nearby, no calling a cab when the shift ends. This episode pulls back the curtain on every detail they never show you. The North Sea, 2003. A roughneck boards a helicopter for the first time, gear bag over one shoulder, not fully understanding what the next 28 days will cost him. The offshore rotation system is one of the most defining structures in the energy industry, and it shapes every single hour of a worker's existence from the moment they land on the platform. The standard arrangement is 28 days on the rig, followed by 28 days off. No popping home for a weekend. No leaving early because you're tired or homesick or missing your kid's birthday. Once you land, the clock starts, and it doesn't stop until day 28. Workers arrive either by helicopter or crew boat, depending on the platform's location and the operating company's logistics. The helicopter ride itself, often 45 minutes to over an hour depending on how far offshore the platform sits, marks the psychological transition point. The moment the skids touch the helideck, the 28-day countdown begins. Everything was in place. The incoming worker just didn't know what everything was building toward. Up to this point, the incoming crew had been moving through a familiar world. Airports, briefings, safety checks. That was about to flip. And that wasn't even the part that got people angry. Every single one of those 28 days is a 12-hour shift. Day shift or night shift, the assignment is fixed for the duration of the hitch. There are no days off mid-rotation. You work 12 hours, and then you have 12 hours left for everything else. Sleep, meals, hygiene, exercise, a phone call home, and whatever passes for personal time on a steel platform surrounded by water. That is the entire margin. Schedules vary across contractors and geographic regions. In the Gulf of Mexico, some crews run 14 and 14 rotations. In parts of Southeast Asia, operators use different configurations entirely. But the 28 and 28 split remains the industry benchmark that most workers across the North Sea, the Norwegian continental shelf, and major deepwater operations worldwide recognize as the standard. The math is relentless. 28 shifts, 336 hours of active work in a single hitch. And every one of those hours happens inside a machine that doesn't slow down for anyone. Imagine trying to sleep inside an engine. Not next to one, inside one. That is the closest approximation to what rest looks like on an offshore drilling rig, and the workers who do it for 28 consecutive days develop a discipline around sleep that most people on land will never need. Reg dormitories are compact by design. Space on a floating platform is a premium resource, and accommodation reflects that reality without apology. Cabins are typically shared between two workers, fitted with bunk beds, minimal personal storage, and very little room for anything beyond the essentials. The layout is functional, not comfortable, and comfort is something you learn to manufacture for yourself. The two workers sharing a cabin are often on opposite shifts. When one man leaves for his 12-hour shift at 6 in the morning, the other returns from his night shift and takes the same bunk. The bed is rarely cold. This system, sometimes called hot bunking, the modern rigs have largely moved toward dedicated bunks per person, reflects just how tightly every square meter of the platform is managed. The rig is never quiet. Machinery hums through the walls at all hours. Pumps run continuously. Alarms occasionally break the baseline noise without warning. Sleep on an offshore platform happens inside a working industrial environment, and your body has to adapt to that, or you simply don't recover. Workers are running on somewhere between 6 and 7 hours of actual sleep per 24-hour cycle, which over 28 days creates a cumulative deficit that the industry takes seriously. Blackout curtains, earplugs, and strict cabin etiquette are not luxuries, they are survival tools. The unwritten rule is absolute. You do not wake a sleeping crewmate unless there is an emergency. The culture enforces it because everyone understands the stakes. Fatigue management on offshore platforms is a formal safety discipline. Exhausted workers operating heavy drilling machinery in a high-pressure environment is not a productivity problem. It is a life or death issue, and every major operator treats it as one. This is where the story takes a turn nobody expected, because hygiene on an offshore rig is not an afterthought. Coming off a 12-hour shift covered in drilling mud, chemical residue, and grease that has worked its way into every layer of clothing, the shower isn't a comfort, it's a requirement. It is a managed, enforced, culturally embedded part of the daily rhythm, and it has to be. Offshore platforms have dedicated shower blocks and bathroom facilities maintained by onboard support staff. They are not luxury facilities, but they are fully functional, consistently supplied, and kept to a standard that reflects the reality of housing hundreds of workers in close quarters for weeks at a stretch. Fresh water on a rig is either desalinated directly from seawater using onboard reverse osmosis systems, or stored in large tanks that are resupplied during cargo runs. Either way, it is a managed resource with real limits. Workers are expected to be efficient. Long showers are a social violation, not just a waste. The hygiene protocol is not optional, and the reasons are practical. Skin infections spread fast in a closed crew environment. Fungal conditions thrive in warm, humid conditions where workers are physically active and in constant contact with industrial chemicals. Illness moving through a platform crew doesn't just affect individual workers, it affects operational capacity. And on a rig running 24 hours a day, losing crew members to preventable illness is a serious problem. Workers returning from shift are expected to clean up before entering living quarters. The separation between the working environment and the accommodation block is deliberate and enforced. Laundry runs on its own system. Workers drop off dirty clothes at a designated point, and onboard laundry staff clean and return them on a regular cycle. You never handle your own laundry on a well-run platform. The cycle keeps moving because the work never stops, and clean kit is part of staying functional across 28 consecutive days. The mess hall is the closest thing to a heartbeat that an offshore platform has. Twice a shift change, workers file in from the deck, tired, hungry, in the specific way that only physical labor produces. And for 30 or 40 minutes, the rig becomes something almost human. The clock was already ticking in the galley. The crew just couldn't hear it yet. Offshore rigs run full-service galley kitchens, staffed by professional cooks who prepare multiple meals per day for the entire crew. This is not canteen food in the dismissive sense. Companies operating in competitive labor markets learned early that food quality is a direct lever on morale. And low morale on an offshore platform doesn't just mean unhappy workers, it means distracted workers. And distracted workers in heavy machinery make mistakes that cost lives and millions of dollars. The galley never fully closes. Because the platform runs day and night shifts simultaneously, meals are available around the clock. A worker finishing a night shift at 6 in the morning needs a full hot meal just as much as the day shift worker sitting down at noon. Menus on well-run platforms are often surprisingly varied. Hot proteins, multiple sides, fresh options where supply chains allow, desserts, and a constant supply of hot drinks and snacks between main meals. The supply chain that keeps a rig fed runs on regular helicopter and vessel deliveries, and provisioning a platform for a full crew rotation requires serious logistical planning. What happens in the mess hall goes beyond calories. Eating together is one of the few genuine social rituals in an otherwise task-driven environment. Workers from different departments, different shifts, Different backgrounds sit across from each other and talk. Friendships form over meals. Tensions get aired. The mess hall is where the crew becomes a crew, not just a collection of workers assigned to the same platform. A good meal, served hot in a warm room with people you trust, on day 19 of 28, that matters more than most people on land will ever understand. By day 14, something shifts. The initial momentum of arriving on the rig, the focus, the routine setting, the novelty of the environment has burned off completely. What's left is the grind. Pure, undecorated repetition. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and the ocean looks exactly the same in every direction it did yesterday and the day before. Workers describe it as hitting a wall. Not a physical wall, most are physically conditioned for the work, but a mental one. The halfway point of a 28-day hitch carries its own specific weight, and the workers who manage it well are the ones who've developed strategies for it, usually from experience. But this wasn't just about the individual worker anymore. When one man's mental state fractures at the halfway point, the ripple moves through the entire crew, through the shift, through the machinery, through every decision made in the next 14 hours on a platform where a single error can kill. Communication with family is possible via satellite phone or platform Wi-Fi, but connections are often slow, rationed, or frustratingly unreliable. A worker might get 30 minutes of usable internet time per day. That's the kind of number that makes accountants cry. 30 minutes a day to maintain the relationships that make the other 23 hours and 30 minutes worth it. A phone call home can drop mid-sentence. The distance isn't just geographic, it's the 3-second satellite delay in a voice call, the pixelated video that makes your child's face look like a stranger's. Missing a birthday, missing an anniversary, missing a school play or a first word, or a family crisis you can't do anything about from a steel platform in the North Sea. The emotional cost of offshore work doesn't announce itself loudly. It accumulates quietly in the hours between shifts when there's nothing to do but think. Rigs address this, imperfectly but genuinely. Recreation rooms offer televisions, gym equipment, card tables, books, and games. Some platforms have cinema rooms. These aren't luxuries, they are mental health infrastructure, and operators who cut corners on them pay for it in crew performance and retention. The crew itself becomes something more than colleagues. Bonds formed under isolation, shared physical risk, and the specific pressure of offshore life are described by veterans as some of the most durable of their careers. The mental resilience of a crew is a collective asset, and when it fractures, the entire platform feels it. Day 28 arrives the way the last day of anything long and hard arrives, slowly and then all at once. The incoming crew's helicopter appears on the horizon, and something in the outgoing crew shifts before it even touches the helideck. The handover process is structured and non-negotiable. Incoming workers receive full operational briefings from the people they're replacing. Equipment status, ongoing jobs, safety flags, personnel notes, nothing gets skipped. Because the incoming crew is walking into a live environment, and they need to know exactly what state it's in. The handover is the moment one crew's 28 days become another crew's starting point, and the continuity of that transfer is what keeps the platform running without interruption across years of back-to-back rotations, with no single person present for all of it, and no margin for the knowledge to disappear between shifts. The helicopter or crew boat ride back to shore carries a quality of relief that is genuinely difficult to put into words unless you've experienced it. Workers describe it as a physical release, tension leaving the body during the flight that they hadn't fully registered carrying. The rig shrinks behind them. The coastline appears. Something resets. Re-entry into normal life is its own adjustment, and this part surprises people who haven't lived it. The noise of a supermarket, the chaos of traffic, food that isn't served on a schedule, the sudden absence of the rigid routine that structured every hour for 4 weeks. Many workers describe the first 2 or 3 days home as disorienting, almost surreal, before the civilian rhythm reasserts itself. The 28 days off are genuinely off. No check-in calls, no standby requirements for most workers. Full disconnection. Families rebuild the rhythm of having someone home. Workers sleep differently, eat differently, move through the world differently. And then, around day 22 or 23 of the break, the next hitch starts appearing on the horizon. Gear gets checked, arrangements get made, the clock resets. 28 on, 28 off. This is the rhythm that defines an offshore career, and it runs for years. Every tank of fuel you've ever pumped connects back to a man standing a 12-hour watch on a steel deck somewhere in the North Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, or the deep waters off West Africa. Every plastic bottle, every heated home in winter, every flight you've ever taken, the supply chain for all of it runs through platforms like this one, staffed by crews living exactly this life. Most people never heard about this part. The supply chain that keeps an offshore platform operational is as complex and relentless as the drilling operation itself, and it runs beneath everything else described here. A single offshore platform can require multiple supply vessel deliveries per week. Drilling consumables, food provisions, replacement equipment, chemical stocks, medical supplies, spare parts for machinery that cannot be allowed to fail. All of it arrives by sea or air, coordinated through onshore logistics teams working in parallel with the platform's operational schedule. The platform had a delivery window of roughly 6 hours before the weather window closed, and the clock had already started. The platform doesn't stop drilling while a supply boat unloads. Both things happen simultaneously, because time on a drilling rig costs money at a rate that makes most people's annual salary look like a rounding error. The cost of operating a single deepwater drilling rig runs into hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. Some ultra-deepwater drill ships operate at day rates exceeding $500,000. Every hour of downtime carries a financial weight that cascades through contracts, deadlines, and production targets connecting back to the companies whose fuel you buy at the pump. You'd think someone would have said something. Nobody did. Because within the industry, this is simply the known reality. The cost is baked in. The logistics are engineered around it. The crews who make it work are trained to maintain operational continuity under conditions that would shut down most workplaces entirely. The support staff on board, cooks, laundry workers, medics, maintenance crews, are not secondary to the operation. They are the infrastructure that keeps the drilling crew functional. Remove the cook and the driller's performance degrades within days. Remove the medic and the entire platform's risk profile changes overnight. The platform is a system, and every person on it is load-bearing. The 28-day rotation isn't just a work schedule, it is a complete restructuring of what a life looks like. Relationships bend around it. Identity forms inside it. The concept of home becomes something you carry with you rather than something you return to every evening. Workers who spend a full career offshore, 10, 15, 20 years of rotating hitches, describe a version of themselves that exists in two parallel worlds, never fully present in either. These workers don't perform their difficulty for an audience. The culture offshore is stoic, practical, and deeply proud. The weight is carried quietly, professionally, and with a matter-of-fact acceptance that can read from the outside as toughness, but is really something more nuanced, an adaptation, a way of being that the work demands and the workers deliver. The ocean doesn't care, but these men show up anyway. Subscribe. The next offshore story goes deeper.